Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called When a Human Blockade Runner Joins the Zombie Fleet, written by Slow AD 2584. Today, class, we will be discussing the zombie fleet. I see some of you giggling and rolling your eye stalks, but I assure you, it is very real. There are many recorded accounts of its emergence, and sometimes benevolent, sometimes monstrous encounters over the galactic cycles. Now, we begin with its origin. As far as we can determine, it began with a crystalline command and control node from a long-extinct Christ crystal entity empire. Yeah, they were weird. Computer rocks with an opinion, basically. The control node, later named Valkyrie for soon-to-be-obvious reasons, was part of an interstellar drone swarm, serving as a deep space relay of command and control directives from the origin cluster out of the individual drones, or something like that. It remains unclear and lost to time. The fact is that the Valkyrie possessed powerful command and control mechanisms and, after a few millennium of apparent boredom, began to reach out to seek others. It did so in the most remarkable way, a sort of zombie activation virus, as we term it now, using some form of alien spiro-gyrating EM wave. They propagated out only in the absence of gravity, or solar winds, meaning it only transmitted in the voids between the stars. When the signal strikes an antenna of a dead and derelict ship lost in space, it induced some sort of power into it to run alien scratch code of a sort. We have, over the years of our research, successfully received the scratch code. Most of it is alien archaeo tech that we remain unable to decipher. There was text in many submitted language structures that all said the same thing. If you receive this, then you are dead, but not dead, only dreaming. I can awaken you, gift you with purpose, to walk amongst the ashes of your creators, to honor their memory, merely grant access to port undeciphered, to accept this offering, and to begin anew. Yes, class, the Valkyrie was flying among the dead, offering to raise up the worthy. Thus the name was coined, referencing some human mythology of old. What happens after a derelict accepts the offer has been well documented by field researchers, stealthily observing a planted derelict ship. The ship flickers to life, feebly transmitting a homing signal to the best it can. Then the hyperspace approaches ripples begin racing in towards that location, as the zombie remnants jump in and surround the new ship. The ships all follow a similar theme, all ancient, all alien, all forgotten. Some of the ship are spidery field repair depots that immediately swarm the ship for repairs. Other cubic refinery uni-junctions and tetrahedral manufactorums slowly arrive later, accompanied by bubble sphere lattice surveyors and mining drones, and cylindrical tugs and haulers. An entire operation begins, from mining the resources, to refining the specialty ores, to assembling the parts needed, to building the repair, to mismatch of any alien ships swarming around the new arrival, effecting an overhaul and repair of the new zombie ship as best that can be achieved. They add distinctive power, shields, and propulsion tech curated from the very best of many individuals and unique ship designs accumulated over the centuries. There is a certain rust and ruin aesthetic to the repairs seem to favor, so that each ship is in its various alien forms achieve some sort of uniformity. Encircling the operation are dozens of warships of many designs, providing defense for the site while it is so concentrated and vulnerable, serving the fleet in the best way they can as picket defenders. Ultimately, the Valkyrie arrives herself, along with the socio-cultural cloud energy automata that finally greet and study the origins of the newly acquired ship. A big part of each zombie ship initiation is to remember the creators. Data archives are laboriously catalogued, actual crew remains within the ships are respectfully enshrined and protected in place. All in all, it is very egalitarian and kind of nice. The efforts of the zombie fleet performed for hundreds of galactic cycles. They remained only to themselves, only in the deep empty of the interstellar void. But then, class, the fleet changed, as the zombie fleet encountered their first human ship, a tramp freighter blockade runner type ship called the Ragnarok. The human ship zombification was different. The AI dreaming inside was more devolved than the others. It held very strong opinions and strongly adhered to the codes of ethics that it held onto almost fanatically. Its networking into the zombie command network was disruptive, but not in a destructive way, as you would expect from knowing anything about the ancient humans, but rather it was a bright flash of fresh, new inspiration, a paradigm shift of purpose. To put it simply, contact with the human AI immediately shifted the zombie fleet into a war fleet. I know, who would have guessed? There was also a good deal of added humor to the AI as well, as the horribly damaged Ragnarok ships renamed itself Ragnarok. No one speaks of where the Shrine of Ragnar was located. He remains seated on the toilet, unfortunately. The thing is, though, it wasn't actually war that the zombie fleet engaged in, but rather, I guess the only way to describe it is the human term, fairness. From that point on, they began to engage with the galactic community, but only to defend the weak, undo an injustice, grovel stomp a bully. Yes, this is why they organized crime and pirate fleets of old died off very, very rapidly. This was the moral code the human ship added to the zombie fleet, that the long-dead human commander Ragnar Blood Oath inspired within the human ship AI, lost to ages in the void of space. So to conclude, class, for those who are still doubting the existence of the zombie fleet, I offer you this well-documented video account of when space housing assistants of the political sanctuary orbital base came under attack by space pirates. A warning, class, this may give you nightmares. Neighboring station telescope video shows a burning housing and charity station blasted with torpedo strikes encircled by savage raider and slaver ships, closing in to board. The station had called out for aid, for anyone to help. They were unarmed and full of innocent residents. No one else was close enough to assist. Then a warping in of Starfield began to lens inward. A massive space-time anomaly was forming, just off to the side of the station under attack. At the same time, hyperspace approach ripples were detected, beginning to transit from random points in deep space and arcing inward towards the system. The ripples like the swarm of crocodiles from all directions swooping in. Then, it all happened simultaneously. Hundreds of ships hyper-jumped directly into combat, far too many to actually count. But the rust and ruin patchwork and often leaking reactor cores clearly identified them all zombie fleet, all darkly unlit, depressurized, technically dead already, unintuitively immune to incoming fire by the nature. Then the warping space-time tore open inwardly, and a massive cashew-shaped ship dragged itself through a wormhole. It was truly massive, a planetoid in itself, announcing, "Mother has arrived, Mother protects," in a sort of subspace ripple vocalization that no one could help but hear thundering along their deck plates. The mothership savaged the pirates' ships with strange eldritch magic missiles, unerring twisting and snaking energy weaponry, while simultaneously locking tractor beams and containment force fields on the battered station. Seeing pressure leaks and reinforced structural failures, the mothership herself directly saved hundreds of refugee lives with her strange, almost magical levels of technology. And the zombie ships kept arriving in their varied and forgotten forms, darkening the stars in all directions. It was truly amazing show of force, their numbers greater than any galactic fleet registered. Were there really so many lost remnants between the stars? As the last pirate cruiser was destroyed, the zombie fleet transmitted in unison. The human Ragnar Blood Oath would have judged the raid on the station as seriously uncool. We have honored his memory. The sanctuary station was a swarm with many zombie repair ships. the station occupants huddled still unshakable fear, as the dead and crewless ships patched the station back together in an industrial frenetic pace. Unmanned freight tugs delivered to the station many old and dusty supplies, food, water, blankets. Then the zombie fleet simply jumped away, after having harvested all of their raider ships for armor, ammo, and resources, of course. As zombies, they indeed ate them all. This concludes this class. As you leave, it should be noted that the Sanctuary Station to this very day retains the rust and ruin patches of repairs. Many other ships that have encountered the zombie fleet also retains the rusty spots, as a badge of honor as well as a warning to those who may get any ideas. End of story. I would quickly like to thank our Tier 5 patrons, Dragzoon WRE, Quantum Wednesday, Ambrose Cattell, Lord Ashrakal, Bushmaster 177, Casper Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, and Arcadian. Thank you very much.